I know that I'm not the only person that when I see something online, I immediately think, I can make that. If you're watching this video right now, I bet you are the same type of person. Here are 3 crochet ideas that anyone who wants to start crocheting can easily do. And these ideas are perfect because fall is here right now, so why not have them be fall themed? Let's get into this. Number 1, beanie. First, grab some yarn that you want to use and a 5mm hook. So you're just going to start with a slip knot and then you're going to chain 40. And then after you chain 40, you're going to chain 1 more and then begin with a half double crochet. To do a half double crochet, all you have to do is wrap the yarn around your hook once, enter into the next available stitch, wrap around, pull through. Now that you have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to wrap around 1 more time and just pull through all 3 of them. And that's it. And then you're going to do 35 half double crochets, followed by 5 single crochets. Now that you only have 5 chains left, just do a single crochet stitch, which, just in case you don't know, all you do is put your hook into the stitch, yarn over once, pull through, so that there's 2 loops on your crochet hook, and then you just yarn over and pull through. So you just do that for 5 times. So just for context, the side that has the little leftover string from when we started, that is going to be the top of our hat. And so if you ever get confused, this is going to be the top of the hat. So now what we're going to do is chain 1, turn our work over, and we're going to start off with 5 single crochet stitches. So instead of just inserting our hook like you normally would, like this, and like yarn over, since we want to get that ribbed detailing look, at the top of the stitch where you see like the 2 pieces of yarn for the 1 stitch, you're just going to go into the back of it. And then you're going to do a single crochet like normal, and you're going to do that 5 times. And then from here, you're just going to do half double crochets, once again, still in the back loops of everything. And you're going to do that for 45 stitches. Once you get to the end of the row, you're just going to chain 1, turn your work over, and then you're just going to do 45 half double crochets, once again in the back loops, followed by 5 single crochets. In this whole tutorial, you are going to be staying in the back loops for everything. You're not going to do like a normal stitch where you go into both loops. You're just going to be in the back loop the whole entire time. So the rest of the pattern is just repeating the last 2 rounds of 35 half double crochet stitches and then 5 single crochet stitches either at the end or the beginning of the round, depending on where the top of your hat is. So I do want to mention that the side that has excess leftover from when we started is going to be the top of the hat. So for this entire tutorial, the side that has the excess is the side where all the single crochets are going to be. Looking at this chart for hat sizes, just crochet however many rounds you need to fulfill the size that you're making. So for me, I ended on round 41, or about 20 inches. The most important thing that you need to be aware of is whatever size you're making, make sure to end on the opposite side of your hat. Now, just fold our project in half so we can connect the sides. To do that, we just enter the back loops of the side that we're working on, just like normal, but also through the chain from the starting point on the other side. So yes, we're going to enter through 2 separate hooks. Then we just slip stitch the sides together, and then just continue doing that until you reach the top of your hat. Until you get something that looks like this. And now we're just going to measure the string to be like 2 or 3 times the length of the top of the hat, and then cut it. I just pulled a string through the last slip stitch to make a knot at the end, just so it doesn't unravel. Taking a darning needle, thread it with the long string that we just cut at the top of the hat, and just go into the stitches at the top all the way until you get to the other side. Okay, so this is really important. When you do get to the end, which you can tell by the little excess string hanging out. Make sure to go past that little excess with your needle just to make sure there's no weird gapping in the hat. Then just take the string that we've been working with and pull it through, and you got yourself a beanie. You just have to weave in the 2 end strings and then you're done. We have our beanie. Here is our first item done. I really love how it came out. It's perfect for the fall. I feel like I'm living in the fall season already. Or a shrug, some people call it, but I think it's actually called a bolero. I'll look it up. But let's get into that. First, start by measuring how wide you want the front and back panels to be. You can make the measurement go all the way to the end of your shoulders, or what I did was to have a little bit more of a fitted look rather than a slouchy look, as I just measured where the seams of my sleeves to the base of my t-shirt met. For me, it was about like 13 inches. Then to start the project, you just make a slip knot and make however many chains you need to get to that length that we measured. I chained around 42. You do want to make sure that the number you use is divisible by 3. Here you could put a stitch marker if you need help keeping track, but from the point that you're at now, you're just going to chain 9 more. Going into the stitch that we put a stitch marker in, you're going to do a double crochet stitch. From here, you're going to chain 3 and skip 3 stitches, and then double crochet into the 4th stitch. And then you're just going to keep doing that all the way to the end of the row. Also, if you noticed on the very last one, I skipped 2 stitches and went into the 3rd stitch, which is totally fine because you could be like a little bit off in this. It does not need to be perfect. And to be honest, I just do not want to math it out right now. So you should have something that looks a little something like this. For the next 5 rounds, it's going to be pretty much the same thing that we did, except for the start. Chain 6, then double crochet, but instead of going into the chain, you can just go into the open loop that we created with the mesh stitch, and then just keep doing what we've been doing. Chain 3, double crochet into the next loop, chain 3, double crochet, until you hit the end of the row, and then just repeat until round 6. If you want the base of the bolero to be longer, you can do more rounds, or vice versa. If you want it to be shorter, you can do less rounds. It's really just up to how you want it to fit. Here's how mine looks after 6 rounds of doing it. So now we just need to make room for our neck. It's going to be up to you how big or small you want to make the neck hole. Just make sure you can actually fit your head through it. I started by making 2 little boxes that we made in earlier rounds. However, this time after the 2nd box, I just chained 28 and then double crocheted into the 2nd box from the end and finished the row like normal. In the next round, you're going to do the exact same thing you've been doing up until this point. However, for this one, you do want to do the double crochets into the line of chains just to keep it a little bit more structured. So just kind of like how we did in the beginning, where you skip 3, go into the 4th stitch, same thing, until you get to the normal squares, and then you could just continue doing what you've been doing the whole time. Including this round, we're gonna do however many rounds you did in the front. So for me, I'm gonna do a total of 6 rounds. After you have as many rows that you need, and you should have something that looks a little something like this, just fold it in half, and we're gonna start on the sleeves. Before we connect the sides, I am going to add some space for my armpit area because the length that I made would have dug into my armpits if I didn't do this. And that's not really comfy for anyone. So if you're also in the same boat, I recommend chaining some spaces in between where we're gonna connect. For me, I chained about 6. Once again, you can add more or less if you need it. Just try to keep it in a multiple of 3. Then after chaining 6, I slip stitched it into the other corner of the side to connect it. From here, you're gonna be doing exactly what we've been doing before at the start. Just by chaining 6, double crochet, chain 3, skip 3, keep doing the sequence over and over and over. The only difference for this round is at the end of the round, instead of turning our work over, we're just going to chain 3, slip stitch into the first little mesh square that we made, and then continue a new round on top by starting with chaining 6. Continue for as many rounds as you need to reach whatever length you want for the sleeves. And then to do the other side, you just connect a piece of yarn the other side and do the same exact thing. I'm pretty tall, so for me it took around 32 rounds for each arm for my desired length. So because of that, it took me a little over 1 skein of yarn. But if you're shorter than I am, you could probably do it in 1 skein of yarn. And then you get this, and you're done! think this is already my favorite thing this fall. Like, it's so cute and it's actually pretty comfy and like, yeah, this is good. This is good. And the third and final thing is a granny square. And I know some of you might be like,
oh my god, that sounds so intimidating. I've seen those all over Pinterest.
I promise you, it's way easier than you think. So once you know the basics of how to do it, you can do anything. At the end though, I will show you how to do this cute little bag, which is like 3 of them. Like, look at this little granny, she's hot. And to get into the fall theme, I'm gonna show you how to make a little bag with these guys. So first things first is you definitely wanna get some yarn. And of course a hook. In each round, you typically create corners and sides. Corners are where you work multiple stitches into one loop or one opening of the granny square, which usually are 3 double crochets, 3 chains, 3 double crochets, to make a 90-degree turn in the square. The sides are where you work stitches, usually just 3 double crochets, in between the corners to maintain the shape. Chain spaces are used to separate the groups of stitches to make the corners. They allow the square to expand evenly and maintain its shape. Start by making a slip knot and chaining 3, and then just slip stitch into the first chain that you made. For round 1, first chain 3, which is going to count as your first double crochet, and then work 2 double crochets into the little ring that we made with the slip stitch. This is going to form your first cluster. Then chain 3, and then make 3 double crochets into the ring again, and repeat this process 3 times. Once you're done with that, chain 3 more, and then we're just gonna slip stitch into the first cluster that we made. So you should have a little square that looks like this. When you start a round over a cluster, you're actually gonna chain 4. It sounds a little bit confusing, but I promise you it's not, because the chain 3 is gonna act as a double crochet for the last round. The chain 1 is the little thing to get over the cluster of 3 below it. So now to create the corner, you're just gonna do what we do for every single corner. Double crochet 3, chain 3, double crochet 3. And then at the end of that, you're gonna chain 1, and you're gonna do that sequence 2 more times, for a total of 3 times. When you get to the last corner, you're just gonna double crochet 3, chain 3, like we've been doing. But then we're gonna double crochet 2. And the reason is because we're using 3 of the chains from the beginning of the round to act as our last double crochet. You're just gonna slip stitch into the 3rd chain, and then you're done with round 2. And then for round 3, since you're starting over an empty space, you're just gonna chain 3 and then double crochet 2, and then keep doing the pattern that you've been doing the whole time. So from here, I think you kind of get the idea of a granny square. Basically just keep repeating round 3. Each round adds a new set of clusters into the chain 1 spaces along the sides. I did this for a total of 5 rounds, but if you want to make your bag bigger or smaller, you could do more or less. It's really up to you. After 5 rounds, it should look a little something like this. Now you have a granny square, so you can make like a ton of them and make a sweater, you can make bags, you can do a lot. They're pretty universal. However, I wanted to show you guys just like a quick, simple, easy bag. So for this one, if you make 3 of them, we can make a little bag. We're just gonna take our granny square and fold it in half, like this. So it looks like a triangle. That is one side. This granny square folded in half. There's another side. And then this last one, fold it in half, boom. We have a little basis for a bag. So we're just gonna do a mattress stitch to connect these right here. Basically, you're gonna need a darning needle. So this is just a brand new piece of yarn from what I was using before. Thread the needle, and then we're gonna take two areas that are gonna be going together. So we're gonna start at the top of this one. The string is on this side. So we're gonna go from outside loop to outside loop. Like that, pull it through, and then just keep doing that. Outside loop to outside loop. And you're just gonna do that all the way down. So now we have two sides connected, but remember, they're gonna be like this. So now we just have to connect this third side. So we're just gonna stitch along here and here. So now you should have something that looks like that. Also, I realized later that it would have been easier to weave in your ends first and then create the bag. So keep that in mind. For the strap, we're just gonna chain however long you want it to be. For me, I did 40 and then do double crochet for one round, and we got ourselves a strap. If you do want a thicker strap, you can add more rows of double crochets to kind of beef it up. It is kind of helpful to leave a longer string to help connect the sides of the bags, so keep that in mind at the end. And then just connect the strap to the edges with the darning needle and you're done with your bag. And with all of that done, you should have something that looks a little something like this. And now we have this little bag. All of these projects turned out so cute and it was so easy. Like, look at that, come on. Anyone can do these. If you're this far into the video, I'm assuming you made all of them. Let me know what other kind of stuff you want to see. More beginner-friendly projects, maybe some more advanced ones. Let me know in the comments. All right, and so if you made it this far, thank you for watching. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.